A few years ago, I made a video about the Apple Watch and the Whoop and comparing them both. And I said in that video that the sole reason I wouldn't use the Apple Watch more was because of the poor battery life and the inconvenience it caused. Over the last month, I've been thinking, pondering, was I a bit too harsh? Could the nearly unlimited do-it-all potential of the Apple Watch be worth the inconvenience of daily charges? Going back to that comparison, could there be a handful of apps that could essentially replace the Whoop? Could you have a Whoop on an Apple Watch plus all of the cool shit that an Apple Watch could do? If so, that's pretty intriguing. And that's what we're here today to find out. So roll that intro. How do we get that Whoop experience on an Apple Watch? That's what we're here to find out. If you're new here and you don't know what a Whoop is both hardware and software. And this is the hardware, the app is the software, and they measure things like your strain or your cardiovascular load and your sleep performance. They analyze both of those and give you a recovery score. All three of these scores are very helpful in improving your fitness in a very easy to use and understand package. So in order to do this on an Apple Watch, we need three apps. We need an app that can measure our cardiovascular load. We need an app that can measure our sleep performance. And thirdly, we need an app that can measure and give us a recovery score. For strain, I decided to go with an app called Zones. Whoop really prioritizes cardiovascular load, so it's going to give you a higher strain score if you do something like running or anything that involves your lungs, more so than something that is just muscular activity like strength training. Zones is very much geared the same way. It does what it's supposed to do, and it measures your cardiovascular load. And it does this in a really elegant way. First, it measures your zone time, and that is how much time your weekly effort in each of those four zones. Those zones being peak, cardio, fat burn, and warm up. I think it's great because it's so easy to see where you've been spending your time at in relation to those zones. Another quality of life feature here is that all the activity that you're doing is auto-detected. And that's with the free version. I decided to upgrade to the pro version. I think it was like $6 or $7, but when you do, there are a couple of extra benefits. One, you can turn those zones from 4 into 5. You can spend an extra bit of money and get a little bit more specific. Beyond that, you also get way more insight into your activity in the zones, and you can actually build like custom insights in the app when you upgrade to the Pro. All in all, I think Zone is a great app. It's simple, but it looks really good. Whoever designed it, I thought they did a great job. Pillow is the sleep tracking app I decided to go with. It was really highly rated on the App Store, and I can see why. Great app. It measures sleep, obviously. It measures how much time you spent in each stage of sleep, but something it does that I haven't seen any other app do is actually give you kind of like a little warning whether or not you're spending too little or too much time in a certain stage of sleep. With Pillow, you can also get a very good look as to what your heart is doing during sleep. So if you want analytics on resting heart rate variability, or the average or max heart rate that you're going through while you're in each stage of sleep, this will do that. I also really like that Pillow offers percentage of heart rate dip. This is a really valuable metric when trying to assess your sleep quality and recovery. If you're sporting the Apple Watch Series 6 or newer, so the 6 or 7, you can get your blood oxygen saturation levels measured, which is nice. And finally, something that it does that I haven't seen any other app do, I keep saying this, and that's why Pillow, I guess, is so highly rated, is it actually gives you a breakdown of your entire night's sleep as it pertains to respiratory rate. So you can see for each hour, like, where your breaths per minute went. And it's really interesting to see how high mine got and how low mine got all within one night of sleep. Now, there is a pro version of this app, which is kind of crazy considering everything you get with the non-pro version. But if you go the pro route, which I think is another $6 or $7, you can actually have access to the sleep lab where Pillow's going to build a personal profile on you. This takes 7 nights of sleep recorded to build it, kind of like what Whoop does, and they calibrate it to you. Beyond that, you're going to have access to some content that's going to help you fall asleep faster and help you stay asleep longer. Things like meditations, sounds, stuff like that. All right, now for recovery. this is actually where I had a major curveball thrown at me. You see, while searching for recovery apps, literally everything that came up was like 12-step programs for recovering addicts. I couldn't find anything specifically on recovery, but I did come across an app called Athletic. And instead of having to use 3 different apps to replicate Whoop on your Apple Watch, Athletic kind of does it all. It measures your exertion or your strain. It measures your sleep. It gives you a recovery score, and it measures your energy output. So like calories consumed and calories burned. And it does so with a really easy to understand interface. But best of all is the price. We'll talk about that later. And just like Whoop, it makes everything super easy to understand. Instead of like filling a wheel though, it uses a bar graph, but it also uses colors. So if you're in the green, you know you're good to go. If you're yellow, you're kind of in the middle, and red, not so much, just like a Whoop. And now that I just said that, there is an exception. Exertion, your strain, is measured just like a Whoop. It gives you a circle. And just like a Whoop, it actually gives you kind of like a strain coach. It tells you where your optimal amount of exertion should be. It will give you a measurement of where you're currently at and what you've been at throughout the whole day. And then it tells you like, hey, this is the mark that you want to get to. And it does it with a section that's kind of highlighted and glowing. Now it's giving you that exertion rate based on prior day's exertion. And what's really cool about it is it gives you an explanation as to why you should be hitting that zone, which I think is really informative. If you like the Zones app and you like training in a heart rate zone, well, Athletic does the same thing. It's going to give you a breakdown of your heart rate analysis, and it's going to give you time spent in each of those heart rate zones. Now sleep is back to the bar graphs, but don't worry, it's all based on colors, so very easy to understand even though they're changing between circles and bar graphs. It also gives you a hypnogram, although this hypnogram is really basic. It's either the amount of time you spent asleep or awake. There's not a breakdown of each stage of sleep. You also get to see your sleep for the day, like any other app, but more importantly, you can actually see a breakdown of your sleep debt over the last 14 days, which is a very valuable metric. You'll also get all of your heart rate related metrics as it pertains to sleep. So resting heart rate, max heart rate, average heart rate, respiratory rate, and heart rate variability. And kind of like Whoop, but not to the extent of Whoop, you're offered a sleep journal of sorts where you can pick different things that might affect your sleep. And if selected over a large period of time, you can kind of see a trend in your sleep. Things like caffeine, alcohol, cryotherapy, etc. Finally, we have the energy section, which is your calories burned and calories consumed, which is pretty cool. There's actually a section where you have inputs for fat, carbohydrate, and proteins, your macronutrients. Now, I don't log food, but if you had something like MyFitnessPal and you were logging and that was connected to your Apple Health, those measurements would show up there, which is pretty rad. Well, what about accuracy? There were a couple of times where the app told me I was, quote, ready to train. However, I was deep in the middle of a massive like head cold, sinus infection, I don't know, you can hear it. I'm still in the middle of it. However, like there was no way I was ready to train. I felt awful. If I look at my Whoop app and show you the app, the score from Whoop compared to Athletic on the same day, you're gonna see it that it was 18%. Man, I just had like the nastiest cough session just now. I absolutely did not feel like I could go out and train. I felt like death. And 18% was probably a little generous. All in all though, it's a pretty robust app that does just about everything that Whoop does. Whoop is going to give you more features though. It's going to give you access to the strain coach, a sleep coach, a much more complete journal. It's got a much more extensive library of exercises and workouts. It gives you intra-workout data, which this does not. It's going to give you access to a hypnogram, and finally, like a community feature. Oh, plus you can see your weekly and monthly assessments up to 6 months, and a form of customer service that's almost instant. None of those you can get with Athletic. Plus, you can wear Whoop just about anywhere now with the Whoop body, your bicep, your wrist, your calf, your hip, your rib cage. A lot of different options there. With the Apple Watch, you're really kind of stuck to your wrist or your bicep. That's for $30 a month if you sign up for month to month, and $18 a month if you sign up for 36 months. Whereas the Athletic app costs 1/12 of that. It was just $29 for an entire year. So if you can live with those limitations, this could be an amazing app and way to go to get Whoop essentially on your Apple Watch. There's no doubt that the Apple Watch is an amazing piece of technology. It can do so much, and with all of the crazy apps that are out there, I'm glad I'm giving it a second chance. Now, does that mean I am going to just completely replace the Whoop? No, it's not. Like, it's still, Whoop is still the best for me, but I'm really enjoying using some of those other apps alongside Whoop. And if you would like to see a video on those other apps, if you want me to go more in detail with some of the apps that I found that I think are awesome for the Apple Watch, specifically with health and fitness, let me know in the comments down below and we can do a full video on that. Thanks again for watching. If you like this video, hit that like button. That way, this video can be just scooped up by that almighty YouTube algorithm. I've never had a video hit the trending page. Maybe we can make that happen. That would be awesome. Also, if you want to see more videos like this and have access to some of the kick-ass giveaways that we do on this channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. It's free. Well, thanks again for watching. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.